things.
Yeah.
When they want to try, look, even for me personally, my character, they would try to attack my character. They'll say he a rat or he this and that.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is ask him who I told on.
Paperwork.
I ain't never told on no in my life.
Yeah.
It pisses me off because let me explain why. The government stopped me from making money. When the government came in, at that time, Murder Inc. was doing like over $100 million in billing for like 2 years in a row. As soon as they raided me, they sent a letter to the Universal Music Group, said if you give Irving Renzo $1, you're gonna be his co-defendants. Because you gave him that money of which he's helping this drug.
Murder Inc. and DA. Rule were two of the labels that dominated hip-hop in the early 2000s. Nevertheless, a federal investigation, a well-publicized feud with 50 Cent, and a leaked video wrecked the operation. How did this video leak come to light so fast, and what was its specific purpose?
Also big on our side, on their side. And as everything started to crumble for us, as far as we didn't have a label as a home anymore, you understand? There was a lot of things that were falling apart for us. It was easy for him to get people to turn on.
Bulldoze.
Right. And there was things that were behind the scenes that y'all don't see that also made us seem more irrelevant, you know?
Murder Inc. and Gia. Rule were two of the labels that dominated hip-hop in the early 2000s. Nevertheless, a federal investigation, a well-publicized feud with 50 Cent, and a leaked video wrecked the operation. How did this video leak come to light so fast, and what was its specific purpose?
A huge label, not just in the United States of America.
International.
What people need to realize is when we did that record on Real with J-Lo, I don't know if they was well aware, but Sony's international machine was amazing. So that Unreal record was not just #1 here, it was #1 in every country.
Nevertheless, beneath all of that success, serious problems were growing. When federal agents raided Murder Inc. officers in January 2003, they confiscated laptops and examined financial records. After a 3-year investigation by the FBI, NYPD Blue, and IRS, it was the outcome. They believe that Supreme funded Murder Inc. and laundered his cocaine money through his son Chris Lorenzo and his friend Irv Gotti.
Coming from Supreme, is that accurate?
That's accurate as far as what?
As far as what you were charged with.
As far as what they tried to say, but
Right.
they changed all those charges. That's not true.
The feds come in
Right.
and start raiding Murder Inc. offices, which are in the Def Jam section.
Yeah, in the Worldwide Plaza.
In the
It's
Worldwide Plaza.
The video that ruined Gia Rule is unexpected. Kenneth Supreme McGriff, currently serving a life term in jail, built the Supreme team, a crack empire that achieved a peak income of almost $200,000 per day in the 1980s. Evody had a strong reputation on the streets before he joined the music business. Before Supreme and Irv ever thought of collaborating in the music business, they had a lengthy history together. Ja also came into the picture later, and Supreme took him under his wing.
From way back.
Me and Supreme began our friendship around like 92, 93.
And
So we've been friends for probably 10 years before this.
I'm a Supreme in the house. What up? You know, whole Murder Inc. family in this.
The trial finally got underway in late 2005. It was an important time for Murder Inc. and hip-hop. In court, well-known people like Jay-Z and Russell Simmons showed their support. Time to see how it all worked out after the case had been dragging on for years. A not guilty decision was returned by the jury after weeks of deliberation, witness testimony, and mountains of evidence. All charges of money laundering were promptly dropped against the brothers. This is the point at which the invisible video myth comes into play. Though it wasn't a secret videotape showing jewel breaching, the evidence was addressed in court documents. Actually, 2 distinct violent incidents are connected to Supreme in the video. In one of those films, he was linked to the 2001 murder of Eric Honeybag Smith, the well-known MC on Queen Street.
Baltimore had Supreme's stuff in it, and amongst his items that he had in the stash house was a videotape, and the videotape was a woman filming out of a house saying, "Hurry up, get here, he's on his way." And we put it together, the news, you could hear the news in the background, we put it together. If you timestamp the news to the time, the 911 calls and everything else, that this
Supreme was eventually accused of several crimes, including the death of E-Money. However, here's the crucial bit. That case never resulted in any charges against J. Irv or any member of Murder Inc. Simply because of the criminal's link, the damage was significant.
Supreme in, and then he felt that he was protection for them, so he was going to go do it. Whatever the reason was.
Murder Inc. had to rebrand following the legal controversy, but they were still unable to replicate the enchantment they had in the early 2000s, of course, particularly in light of V's many conflicts with his artist. Besides, before the whole Feds episode, there was a big problem with Ja Rule and Murder Inc. The problem is called 50 Cent. As of right now, their dispute remains one of the most talked about subjects in hip-hop history. Additionally, Ja Rule and the entire ensemble of Murder Inc. felt the full impact of it, especially since it affected the entire business component of the film.
Things that were behind the scenes that y'all don't see that also made us seem more irrelevant. You know, like we couldn't go to award shows. They would make calls like, well, if Murder Inc. is in the building, they're not gonna perform this year. M's not gonna perform. So we would get calls from MTV. Much love, shout out to MTV. Or we get calls from BET. Shout out to BET. That we love you guys, but guys, they're doing their thing this year, and we don't want y'all in the building.
The J and 50 beats started when Rue was mugged at gunpoint in Queens. In 1999, not long afterward, he saw the offender hang 50 people. Anyway, that's what 50 said. That was the starting point of the tension. Jay, on the other hand, denied it, saying that the real issue was that 50 was very angry at being left out of a Murder Inc. production. In the same year, the two rappers would get into their first real fight, which would involve punches and the grabbing of chains at an Atlanta bar. By the early 2000s, the situation had completely deteriorated. 9 shots were fired at 50 outside his grandmother's home. Later, in an incident with Murder Inc. members, he was stabbed in the Hit Factory studio. Not surprisingly, considering their history, some people in their nearby neighborhoods started to suspect 50 of being involved in some of the lawsuits filed against Murder Inc. and Supreme.
I'll give you the answer. But, if you talk to me about 50...
Rumors that 50 is a snitch have been prevalent in hip-hop for a while. Several New York street legends are mentioned in his song Ghetto Quran, which has led some to accuse him of dry snitching. He portrayed street history like a police report, which offended people. Supreme was one of the 50, but not all of them agreed. The impact of the record he feels and the accusations that he was the snitch are exaggerated.
He didn't say nothing. He didn't have a problem with the record. Then he had a problem later when law enforcement started to hold on to the record. And they're not holding the record because of what I said. Because they already got a separate homicide that you're sitting in here on. They already got your tapes and the dope that you got caught with in Baltimore. So what they're really holding you to is the fact that I didn't say nothing when I got hit. So they're saying he's associated to this thing with this kid, and this is why they keep bringing that into this actual case. Remember all of the snitch, you snitch, you this is now. Yeah. That's the worst thing you can be in the environment that I come up with, right? Where the snitch at in the documentary?
Some admirers have written off Ghetto Quran as no more than fiction. Irv Gotti and Ja Rule are two more that have long had the opinion that 50 is a total snitch. In 2021, 50 made fun of Murder Inc. by tweeting, "I put the whole label out of business." In spite of his frequent denials of the snitch charges, this doesn't help. That tweet, then what did he mean? Some people think of it as a classic 50, clever, noisy, and petty. The Gotti camp, on the other hand, views these kinds of antics for what they may be. 50 isn't interested in what the Murder Inc. crew has to say. He has never missed an opportunity to go after them. Consequently, it was not shocking that Gotti didn't hold back when he died in February 2025. Soon after, 50 posted a photo of himself on Instagram standing in front of a plastic headstone with the caption, "I'm smoking on that Gotti pack." While some saw the message as below-the-belt behavior, for 50 it was the culmination of years of animosity, contempt, and deep-rooted loathing. Zhao discussed the article openly in a later Breakfast Club interview. He admitted that the sight of the message almost made him lose it. At that time, he said he refrained from going all out on the 50 out of Supreme's respect.
I'm like...
How do you feel about that when you saw it?
Nobody likes all this goofy shit, but it's goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm not... Preem said it best. I spoke to Preem the other day. Preem has always got the right words. Because I was hot. You know what I'm saying? I was hot. I was ready to go nuclear and shit. But, I said... So I spoke to Preem anyway. And Preem said, he said, Rule, he said, here's what you got to understand about who we are.
50 quickly took to Instagram to retaliate after learning about the interview, saying that the Breakfast Club should feel embarrassed. of themselves for posing questions that incite violence. Then he made light of the job, claiming that this fool has been getting ready to go nuclear for 22 years. Let's all chuckle. Your boyfriend is in my runs at the moment. Ya Rule wasn't delaying this time. Snitch allegations became the major topic of his angry tweets when he took to X and pointed straight at 50 Cent. He referred to him as a rat and accused him of hiding behind the cops while appearing as a street vendor. In order to prove his argument, Ja posted what he said was real proof that 50 had worked with the police to obtain a protective order against Murder Inc. Ja's accusations were eventually stopped by famous hip-hop attorney Bradford Cohen, who has defended Lil Wayne, Drake, and Kodak Black despite some social media exposure. In a detailed Instagram post, Cohen dissected the materials Josh provided and pointed out errors in the claims, debunking the entire issue. Considering how quickly that chapter ended, it's just another short-lived feud that is unlikely to end very soon. In the greater scheme of things, the so-called unknown footage is more of a fiction than a reality because it has not yet been discovered or made public. The injury that actually occurred Rue's career suffered as a result of the investigation, frozen accounts, and ongoing irrelevant media coverage. It's true that your boy 50 Cent went far, keeping the spotlight on Jay during his darkest moments and turning their argument into something that affected how people saw them both. And so, People ends another episode of Rap Rewind. So, do me a favor. Please use the comment box to give your thoughts about the story. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until our next meeting, I wish you blessings and tranquility.